Many victims of exploitation and emotional abuse were really very faithful and loyal people at one point in time. Go back to the Puranas of our own Bharat, and you will see in Mahabharata a great character, a perfect man, Bhishma Pitamaha, had taken a vow for his father's happiness, and that vow then created so much of misery, and he died a very bad death because he could not shake away that loyalty that he had towards the Kuru dynasty and the promise that he had made. In fact, Krishna tells him at one point in time that had you loosened the grip on that vow that you had taken, had you stood for truth, had you stood up for justice, faith, dharma, had you played your dharma as the Pitama of the family, you would not have suffered so much. The Kuru dynasty may not have suffered so much. So it's very important for us to understand that loyalty and faith can also blind us to a point where exploitation, emotional torture become easy. You may blame others for doing it, but you yourself are responsible for it. So remember, true faithfulness is standing strong on your values and virtues of faith and loyalty without really others taking advantage of you, without you becoming a martyr. So the way to do this is ensure that you set boundaries and you remain committed. You have to know what's your overall dharma, what's your responsibility, what's the point at which that loyalty is becoming foolishness, what is the point at which your loyalty really doesn't mean anything to the other person. You're just a fall guy, a fall woman in that setup, whether it's in the office or in your family or in your society with your friends. You have to know what are your boundaries, what you should do, to what extent you must go, and how not to go beyond this. Think about how many accidents have you heard about in the last 10, 15 years of youngsters, of young adults, of late adults who are intoxicated and driving. I am sure a few of those people in the car did not want to be in the car, did not want to be driven so fast, but they did not get out of the car. Why? Because their friend would feel bad. And then look what happened. In many cases, the friend who was driving fast may have escaped, but the others died. Or in some cases, all of them were cripples for life. So remember, set boundaries. There is a point to which you go and beyond which you don't go. And that brings me to the second point, that you need to be loyal while the other person is reciprocating that loyalty and the respect back to you. Remember, loyalty and faithfulness is a way of respect, is a way of contribution, is a way of generosity, is a way of compassion. See if you're experiencing that compassion, that generosity back towards you. If you are not, then there is a big problem. You may not get it in the same way from the other person because everybody has different ways of paying it back. But see if in the same essence, in the same quality and quantity, you are getting it back from the other person in some way or the other. If that loyalty, if that faithfulness is reciprocated, then wonderful. Otherwise, you need to know when to draw the line. In fact, you need to know that it's time to draw the line. Also, faithfulness doesn't mean self-sacrifice. Remember, you can only go hungry to a certain point in time. You will fall flat beyond a certain point in time because your body needs energy, your body needs water, your body needs nutrition. So if you are not nurtured, you cannot move on. Just like that, there are emotions, there are achievements, there are things that you need to do in your life. You cannot keep sacrificing yourself to an extent where you are impoverished and you fall in certain areas of your life. So whether it's about lending money or your time or your thought or your care to other people, see that you are not draining yourself out of your wits, because at some point in time, your life will come crashing around you if you are doing that. And that's where we need to understand that in our life, many times loyalty and faithfulness and respect and generosity is coming with our feeling of love and attachment and towards the other person. In fact, this becomes dependency at some point in time. Either you are so dependent on the other person or the other person is so dependent on you, and then you have this very symbiotic relationship where you're feeding off each other, and that then is not helping you differentiate between reality and the myth. A lot of faithful people become victims because they see they fail to see where that myth, their life has become a myth, where reality has become a myth. Please be aware of this. So remember, what is the reality? Where is the other person? What is happening? What's the consequence? And a simple question that you can ask is, What's the outcome of my faith and loyalty? Is the other person progressing? Is my life progressing? Is our life progressing? Are things around us better? If they are not, then it's time for you to draw a line. So speak up when your loyalty is getting misused by the other person. Speak up when you are not seeing the returns of what it is that you should be getting. And I'm speaking about a reasonable period of time, a week, 2 week, a month. And you should ideally focus on this. Certain things may take a couple of years' time, but you need to understand what scope of life are you talking about and when you need to speak up. And last but not the least, it should be your principles that you live with. It's not about people. Remember, loyalty and faithfulness, respect, generosity is about you and your character as a human being. It's not about someone deserving it. You should have these factors for everyone around you who are related to your life. So you should think through and offer it to everybody, but remember when and where to use it. So again, if you're selectively being loyal only to some people, then again, you need to understand, is my judgment correct? And going back to the story that I began with, Bhishma Pitamaha, and what was he loyal to? He vowed his loyalty to his father, and then that transferred to the throne, and the throne then transferred to Duryodhana, and then see where it is ending up. So when in life you are living with a set of virtues, those should be virtues about you as a human being, not virtues connected to a person, because highly likely that person is going to misuse you, or there'll be situations where you will cross over onto the wrong side of doing things. So be careful with the choices that you're making with life. Do not throw good money after bad, good emotions after bad, good interest after bad, good care after bad. Don't think that at some point in time, things will improve. Your sacrifice is not going to change the other person if the other person really doesn't have the morality, the intelligence, the presence of mind, the mindfulness to do things. You need to know when to cut your losses. So be faithful, not a victim.